Dhaval, on to you.
Hello everyone. Okay. Hello everyone. A warm welcome to all the dignitaries present over here, our respected teachers, our training and placement officers, and our my dear friends and the students. I would like to introduce myself. This is Dhaval Banushali here from the placement assistant team of Vedanta College. Well, guys, from yesterday's session, you must have to come to know that how important is LinkedIn and resume is to enter into our corporate world. And you must have to also understood that how we can crack the personal interview. Now moving forwards towards our great session will help you to enter in the corporate world, that is group discussion. So here with an great excitement, I would like to welcome our today's speaker, Mr. Aman Lodha. He is a chartered accountant by profession and currently pursuing LLB. He is a deputy manager at Deloitte, one of the big four consulting firm. He awarded with the best organizer and principal special award in the HR college, an article of the year in Girish P. Jain and company. So by this, I would like to hand over the platform to Aman sir. Aman sir, off to you.
Thank you so much, Dhaval, for the lovely introduction. Okay, so is my voice audible to everyone? I think just one yes would do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, great. So as Dhaval mentioned, we'll be discussing about group discussions in detail today. It's a very exciting session that would encompass a lot of things that I have curated. And this is from my own personal experience. I have been a part of GDs, and I'll tell you why GD is so very important in the corporate structure. So yesterday and day before yesterday, you have been talking about interviews and how to prepare for the interviews. But one step before is a group discussion. And throughout this session, the things that I'll be covering is the basics. What is a group discussion? Why is it so important in a corporate structure? The structure of group discussion, how does it operate? What is the start? What is the middle part? How does it conclude? And what is the summary like? What are the myths about GD? What are the tips that you can use for cracking and for slaying any kind of GDs? My own personal experience, and then we'll be having a mock GD here itself, basis whatever we have learned over this 40-45 minutes course of session. And then we'll be having a mock GD and a feedback to everyone who has participated and to everyone who is listening. And honestly, from a personal point of view, I want to add value addition to each and every one of you who is listening to this, because GD will really go a long way in you cracking the interview processes of various corporate interviews that you'll be doing in the coming course. So let's get started. So first, I'll introduce you to what is a group discussion. Let me just share my screen. Yeah. So group discussion, as the name suggests, it is nothing but a discussion amongst a group of 8 to 10 people in the presence of a moderator or an examiner. Now, generally what happens is, if you can see my next slide. So yeah, so generally what happens in a group discussion, in any college placement or in say ICI placement or MBA placements, there would be lines and lines of people or the candidates who would be queuing in, right? Now it becomes very difficult to get a personal one-to-one interview and to actually find out the best suitable candidates. So what the corporates do is they shortlist the candidates by the way of group discussion. just stop sharing this. Yeah. So, so what the corporates do is they actually shortlist candidates. So suppose now if there are say 100 people or 200 people, now out of these candidates, it is very practically impossible to interview everyone on a one-to-one basis. So suppose they'll be dividing all the candidates into say 8 or 10 groups of 10 people each. And then what will happen is this 8 to 10 people will have a group discussion amongst themselves in the presence of an examiner. Now it is up to the examiner whether any one of them, any two, any three of them get selected for the next round. And by this, they will shortlist around say 10 to 20 people. And now this 10 to 20 people will head towards the interview round. So the conversion rate in a group discussion is far less. So out of 100 people, there's a possibility that only 10 people get selected to the next round. So that is why group discussion is very critical to understand, also to practice somewhat the mock GDs to learn the relevant or the common topics that would help immensely. So, so that is why group discussion is very important. Now, is it logical? ये logical है कि मैंने suppose if I am a CA, okay. Now I have studied. Now CA requires technical knowledge, right? Not much of the communication skills like an MBA. मुझे judge किया जाएगा on basis of my communication skills in a group discussion. Now, is it fair? Is it logical? No, maybe no, but that is the only way that corporates work. And group discussion would be a part of any job process where you are trying to apply. So that is why it is very crucial to understand the elements of GD. Now, what we'll be doing is I'll just tell you the different types of group discussion that can be there when you are entering into the corporate setup. Just 1 second. Yeah. So generally group discussions would be on these 4 subjects. The first is general. Now, what could be included in general? Any topic, like say terrorism, how India deals with terrorism, or say demonetization, whether demonetization was a good move for the Indian economy or not. Then there could be controversial topics which the examiner wants to understand that what is the stand that a particular person is taking, how he reacts if someone of the opposite view says something. So here your composure, your calmness would also be tested. Now, what could be the controversial topics? Like, do women make better managers or not? This is a controversial topic. Now, another topic would be reservation on basis of caste. Again, a very controversial topic. So you need to have insights on each and every topic. And no one is testing your knowledge. No one will test what are the numbers, what are the statistics. They will test your communication skills and just the basic knowledge of a particular topic. That is all you need. Then there could be abstract topics. Now, generally, abstract topics are given to actually test the creativity of the candidates who are there. So suppose if I give a topic like ideation versus execution, what is more important? Now, this is an abstract topic. It is not a controversial, it is not a general topic, but it is discussing ideas and your own set of experiences that drives those ideas. So that would be under the abstract. And next is the case study based GD. Now, what happens in case study based is they will give you a case study to the group as a whole. So suppose in a factory, a workman was fired by his employer and everyone went to a strike. Now, in this particular case, what can an employer do? Now, this is a case study based exercise, and what you will need to do in the course of the 10-15 minutes of group discussion is discuss ideas in ways that the employer can enact so as to get back everyone to work. So these are 4 broad topics under which any GD would operate, but mostly it would always be under the umbrella of general or controversial topics. Abstract and case study based is rarely used. Okay, moving on to the next part. Now, how is a GD conducted? So as I told, around 8 to 10 people. You'll be giving a time of 10 to 15 minutes. There would be someone who would start the group discussion. Then you need to take it forward from there. You need to write what the other person is saying so that you know that what you need to build on. बीच में कुछ to and fro भी होगा, and then last में एक summary होगी. Every speaker will get roughly a chance of around 3 to 4 times to speak in between or at the start, at the end, सब मिलाकर. And say if it is a 10 to 15 minute session, then अगर आप 3 मिनट बात कर लो, 4 मिनट बात कर लो, so that is good enough. Okay, so also यहाँ पर अगर किसी को भी कोई भी questions है, they can drop in. From time to time, I'll be looking at the live chat and I can also take up your questions. So this would be the structure. और एक examiner रहेगा. हम लोग एक mock GD भी करेंगे जिसमें you'll get a fair idea how this particular thing will operate. So what is the role of the examiner in the GD? The examiner does not drive the group discussion at all. इसका मतलब examiner will be passive. अगर मैंने आपको एक टॉपिक दे दिया, उसके बाद it is upon the group to discuss that topic, to discuss various points. ऐसे नहीं कि कोई एक पॉइंट पे लगा हुआ है तो everyone is running in the wrong direction. No, everyone needs to bring out some unique point which adds value to that particular group discussion, and then one of them needs to conclude the GD. ये होगा. Examiner, observer क्या करेगा? He needs to find out who is proactive, who is reactive. He needs to find out किसके points valid थे, किसने अच्छे से लोगों को सुना, whose communication skills were good, whose body language was good. ये सारी चीजें examiner observe करेगा. Basis that you will either be selected or you will not be selected for the next rounds. So this is the broad structure under which a group discussion will operate. Moving on to the next part. Now, the expectations of the examiner. First would be the communication skills. Like I said, if you're doing a very technical course, like a chartered accountancy course or CWA, उसमें इतनी communication skills हमारी test होती ही नहीं है. So that is why group discussion and learning about it and understanding it, applying it practically becomes all the more important. Why is it so? Because ये सारी चीजें हमें हमारे throughout हमारे curriculum में तो cover होती नहीं है, but suddenly आप interview में जाओगे and you will be amongst 8 to 10 people who will be having different views, and you need to counter that, and you need to have your own valid points. So it becomes very important to abhi se hi, college ke period se hi, you get to know about this, you start reading a lot. So first is the communication skills. Communication skills में आपकी body language भी आ गई. So if you are sitting cross-legged or if you are sitting lousily, then the examiner or the observer will have not a good view about your approach towards a group discussion. The best way is to sit upright and just have a lot of eye contact with everyone who is there. That is the best way to go forward in terms of body language. In terms of communication skill, speak slowly, speak sense, do not interrupt someone in between. कोई अगर कुछ और ये monologue नहीं है, so it won't be a monologue that you keep speaking and speaking. No, there will be people who would want to speak. So have your say, then hold back, right? I have a very interesting slide on this, so I'll just share my screen again. So if you see here, the first person is having a open posture. So what idea does it give to the observer? That he's more relaxed and open attitude, but that might not be very feasible or very recommended for the interview that you are going for, because it would be a formal interview. So the person in A, I would not recommend to sit like that in a GD. The second is also a complete no. It is a closed posture, defensive, negative attitude. The third is the perfect posture in which you should sit for a group discussion, that is sitting up straight, which sends a lot of signals that you are confident, you are smart, you are willing to take it up whatever comes your way. So this is about the body language. I'll again share my screen to take you to the next slide. This is an interesting one. I think you guys will relate to it. So what is this? This is a Karthik Aryan monologue from one of his movies, right? This is a famous monologue. So here I'm trying to say is group discussion is not a monologue. you need to stop, you need to make your point, you need to stop and let others speak, because listening is also very, very important skill that the examiner or the observer will observe in you whether you are listening or not. So don't be like Kartik Aryan in any of the group discussions. That is highly recommended. Okay. So okay, moving on to the next. So after communication skills, leadership skills. Now tell me in the chat box, how can you display leadership skills, or how can you portray the qualities of being a leader during a group discussion? Just randomly, whatever comes to your mind. I'll just scroll through the chats and just let me know what things you can do to portray that you are having those leadership qualities. Because if you are going for an interview, if you are someone is hiring for a job, then they would like to see whether you have the leadership skills or not. So yeah, so I'm looking at the chats. Let me know what things you can do in a group discussion, so that maybe the examiner knows that okay, this person has some sort of leadership skills. Come on, anyone? Yes, students. Okay, I think I have something in the chat box. No, come on, guys, think. So let us make this very interactive. अगर एक group discussion चल रहा है, suppose I tell you the topic would be uh, let's say demonetization. Okay, whether demonetization was a good move or not a good move. अब ये topic है. अब इसमें you are in the middle of a group discussion. Now, how do you portray that this is what the examiner would be looking for? How do you portray your leadership skills? Correct, Surbi. While starting the GD, the person who start the GD and take the lead can be described one of the quality of leadership. Brilliant. Agreed. So I'll be coming to this particular point, starting of the GD. This will be covering, and this is a absolutely correct point that जो GD start करता है, he gets or she gets brownie points. Because what does that portray? That portrays the quickness, the alertness, how active you are on your feet to think of it. So leadership skill definitely. अगर आप GD start करते हो, nothing like it. What else? So I see in college we have participated in any activity. Efficiency. Okay, I've missed something at the top. Good listener. Good listener is another quality in itself, but I'm not sure whether it helps to display leadership skills. What you can do is, what I would say is, suppose if there are 8 to 10 people. Now, one particular person is an introvert. He is not speaking, or he's somewhat lost. Now you're observing everyone who is speaking. What you would do is, you can take his name or you can take her name. You can ask them to bring out their points. So for example, there is Rishikesh here. So suppose if Rishikesh has not said anything in the group discussion and 5 to 10 minutes have already passed, what I'll be doing as a participant in the GD, I'll say, hey, hi Rishikesh, what is your point on this particular thing? So what does that display? That the person is taking everyone along. Okay, he's very inclusive. So this is a sign of leadership, that you see everyone in the team is participating or not. If someone is not participating, you make them feel comfortable. So good listener, yes, if you listen properly, you will understand that okay, some people are actually not speaking. Why they're not speaking? Maybe they are out of their comfort zone, or maybe they do not have any points. So just try and understand from them, or maybe they do not get any chance. Because what happens now, group discussion, आप 8 से 10 लोग, एंड सबके दिमाग में ये है कि मुझे पहले बोलना है, मेरे पॉइंट्स है. जो बंदा नहीं बोल पाया ना, वो नहीं बोल पाएगा फिर. Because every time you try to speak, someone will interrupt. So if you see that happening, you can actually ask someone that, okay guys, let him also speak. So that will display your leadership skills. That will display your empathy skills, your listening skills, right? So good listener. Starting the group discussion, we already covered. Efficiency, using the statistical data and numericals to prove a side in a GD, absolutely. So if we really now here there's two sides to it. So if the facts that you are pointing out are 100% right, accurate, please go ahead with that. If the facts that you are pointing out, you are not sure about it, then it is recommended that please do not speak anything, because as I said earlier, they are not testing your knowledge. They are not testing your intellectual skills. For that, they have a separate round. They have a technical round. Here, they want to test your leadership skills, your listening skills, your communication skills. So all these things they need to catch. So that is why I would say if you have a very strong fact, then you can point it out. Otherwise, you can just stay away from it. Okay, another comment I have: when the GD is going on and we have to conquer anyone's point, we should say it in a correct way, like yes, I agree, or no, I disagree with this point, so that it will not look like a mess. Point taken. So I'll be actually covering this particular point, that suppose if you disagree with someone, then how do you say that to them, that you disagree with them? We'll be covering it in a bit. Next, what we have is in Rotaract or NSS, we become leaders. So, no. So SM FinTech. So what happens is, so what I'm saying is the examiner or the observer would not know your history. So they don't know whether you are a leader from somewhere. Of course, it is great to be a leader at NSS or all the clubs that the college has. But in that particular 10 to 15-minute session, how are you actually portraying the leadership skills? That is very important. ग्रुप को लीड करना चाहिए. Okay, so group को lead कैसे करोगे? That is a question, right? How will you lead the group? So I have a couple of examples. So first is what I pointed out, that what others also pointed out. Take initiative. सबसे पहले आप अगर बोलते हो, you start the group discussion, आप अपने आप लीडर बन जाते हो. Because if no one is taking the initiative, if you know the particular topic of discussion very well, then take the lead. It will earn you brownie points. It will actually portray or give a strong signal that he knows what he's talking about. Okay, so take initiative. That is how you can display leadership skill. Second is include everyone. If someone is lagging behind, if someone is not talking, include those people. Third is don't follow the herd. Now, what do I mean by don't follow the herd? Now, suppose the topic of discussion is that whether India can be a superpower in or by 2030. Now, suppose one person says that look at America. America became a superpower by doing this, by industrialization or by liberal policies. And then someone else says, but America got independence 400 years back. So it has an advantage of a 400-year democracy, and that is why America is thriving. Then someone else says America is this. Now, what is happening here? What is happening here? जो discussion था India being the superpower, वो shift हो गया to America. अमेरिका ये है, अमेरिका वो है, अमेरिका वर्सेस इंडिया. और ये ग्रुप डिस्कशन में बहुत बार होगा जब लोग भटक जाएंगे टॉपिक से. What you need to do then is, okay guys, we are deviating from the topic. Our topic is not India versus America. Our topic is, can India become a superpower by 2030? So let us stick to India. इस वे में आप अपनी लीडरशिप स्किल्स दिखा रहे हो. आप क्या बता रहे हो एग्जामिनर को कि पीपल विल फॉलोइंग द हर्ड, वो डिविएट हो रहे थे पॉइंट से, अभी फिर से आपने उनको ट्रैक पर लाया. सो दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वे और अ वेरी सटल वे थ्रू विच यू कैन डिस्प्ले योर लीडरशिप क्वालिटीज. सो ये आप कर सकते हो, बिकॉज जनरली आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस दैट ग्रुप डिस्कशन में लोग भटक जाते हैं. यू नो व्हाट वुड बी द ओरिजिनल पॉइंट, कोई सुनेगा नहीं बराबर, and everyone will just follow the herd. So don't do that. Understand what is the point of discussion and stick to that. Someone is not sticking to that, then let them know and bring the topic to the right direction. That is the quality of a leader. Okay, moving on to the next. What else the examiner will observe? He will observe your confidence. He'll observe your composure. Now, what do I mean by composure? So suppose the topic of discussion is caste-based reservation. Now, you are someone who is for it. Someone else is against it. उसने कोई point बोल दिया which is wrong, okay, or which you do not agree. At that particular point of time, there is a way to say that point taken, but I don't buy this particular point. or sorry to interrupt, but I just partially agree to this. If you partially agree to the point that the other person is saying, I partially agree to this particular extent, but और फिर जो आपका point है वो आपको बोलना है. So that is how you will actually counter someone. Don't stop someone in between. You can note down the point, और वो होने के बाद जब आपकी chance है तब आप बोल सकते हो कि I do not buy this particular point. I appreciate your stand taken, but I do not buy this point because of this reasons. So that is how you actually counter it. And उसमें आप composure भी maintain करो. Composure कैसे maintain कर रहे हो? You don't get hyper or you don't shout. यहाँ पर ये myth में मैं cover करूंगा कि कैसे अलग-अलग लोग अलग-अलग advice देंगे GD को लेकर, but you don't need to do any of these things. Okay. Now moving on to the next point, that is knowledge and logical thinking. Now, knowledge, yes, it is essential if you are making any points for a particular topic, but I would say that it is not the most important or the fundamental thing in a group discussion. In a group discussion, what the interviewer is looking as the interplay with the other participants, the teamwork, the confidence, communication skills, knowledge. आपको basic knowledge होनी चाहिए सब topics के बारे में, वरना बोलोगे क्या? So you need to have basic knowledge, but no one is expecting you to have, some statistics or some, really insightful things about, say, cryptocurrency or bitcoins. No, basic knowledge अगर आपको उसके बारे में पता है, blockchain technology के बारे में basic knowledge पता है, then that is fine. They are not looking at, the numbers or the statistics. No, they are not looking at that. So I'll tell you my personal experience. So I cleared my chartered accountancy in 2019. And we had CA placements. And when I went to the CA placements, मुझे एक तरीके का shock लगा that after 5 years of so much effort, it looked like a marketplace, that there are hundreds and thousands of CA who are just fighting for one job. And you won't believe, जब offer papers जब दे रहे थे, तब people were actually, getting in line and pushing each other. So that is what happens at every placements. You will realize that वहाँ पर आकर there are a lot of people who are fighting for that one particular job. So first मेरा interview setup हुआ था for Reliance, and उसमें there was a GD round obviously, and वो GD round 10 people, only 2 were selected. So I got converted in that particular GD round. I'll also tell you that what points or what was my approach in that particular GD, but that would be after the mock GD that we do. So there was another interview, there was another GD as well, जिसमें I did not get converted, और उसमें भी मैं आपको बताऊंगा reasons कि क्या गलतियां करी जिसकी वजह से convert नहीं हुआ उसमें. But anyway, I did not accept both the offers because the both offers were not suitable, but it was a really good experience. Now moving on to the next point. So now the structure and the format of GD. So there is a start, there is a middle part, and then there is a summary. Now, how do you start a group discussion? Suppose examiner gives you a topic. Now the topic is, suppose say terrorism is the topic, that how India should reply to terrorism or how India should counter terrorism. Abhi aapko, there are 2 ways, okay? The examiner would give you maybe say 1 minute to gather your points, and then they will say, okay, now you can start. And then any one person can start it. Or it might happen that the examiner gives you the point of topic, and then anybody can start kabhi bhi, without any time or without 1 minute. What? Now, suppose you are starting, which I highly recommend that you should start if you are very confident about your point. How you can start? Maybe you can start with a quote. Okay, so suppose if it is terrorism, you start with a quote that weapon and deception are the or say terrorism and deception are the weapons of the weak. And hello friends, today's topic of discussion is terrorism and how India can fight terrorism. And then you proceed from there. Now suppose if the topic is demonetization, आप start कर सकते हो एक छोटे से incident के साथ as well. That November 2016, I was watching TV and I heard the news that India has gone into a demonetization. And earlier, every one of us was very excited about this new particular initiative or a move. by the government, but later on we realized that how ill-planned it was or what hardships we all faced. So today's topic for discussion is demonetization, and these are my points. So आप या तो एक कोट बता सकते हो, या तो आप एक छोटा सा इंसिडेंट बता सकते हो. Again, it should not be more than 20 seconds. It should be within 20 seconds. Okay. Or else third would be you straight away start with your point, whatever point you have. जैसे कि अगर demonetization में आपको कोई point बोलना हो, तो you straight away start with the fact. 99.9% of the currency under circulation went back to the banks, and that is why demonetization was a failure. ये आपने एक लाइन बता दी, उसमें आपका पॉइंट बता दिया, उसमें आपने एक स्ट्रॉन्ग फैक्ट रख दिया सबके सामने. द मॉडरेटर इज इम्प्रेस्ड. एक लाइन में ही द मॉडरेटर इज इम्प्रेस्ड. सो देयर आर 3 ways to start a GD. The first is you start with a quote if it is a light-hearted GD. Okay. Second is if you have some very personal incident which might be helpful for that particular group discussion, you you can very well say that. थर्ड इज आप स्ट्रेट यू डाइव इनटू द फैक्ट, और कोई ऐसा फैक्ट बताओ जो एक हेडलाइन फैक्ट जिसको बोलते हैं कि वो फैक्ट देखकर आधे लोग तो लाइक ओके ही नोज व्हाट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट. सो दैट शुड बी हार्ड फैक्ट एंड इट शुड बी एक्यूरेट. और फोर्थ, यू कैन हैव योर पॉइंट स्ट्रेट अवे. कुछ ये तीनों भी कुछ भी चीज करने की जरूरत नहीं. इफ यू हैव योर पॉइंट यू वेरी वेल से इट. सो दिस इज द वे इन विच यू कैन स्टार्ट अ ग्रुप डिस्कशन. नाउ ओके, आई हैव सम क्वेश्चंस. How to answer someone who is disturbing the group discussion by giving statement I disagree. Okay, so yes, so यहाँ पर भी आप leadership skills दिखा सकते हो. A very good question. So suppose अगर ऐसा हो रहा है कि एक बंदा जो है वो or there's one candidate who is interrupting between I disagree to a point, my point is this. I disagree to a point, my point is this. You can take lead. You can tell him excuse me, whatever is your name. और name कैसे जानने का है उसका भी मैं आपको ट्रिक बताऊंगा. So you can say, excuse me, say Isha. So excuse me, Isha, I respect your views, but let everyone complete their points, please, and then you can have your turn. So this is a very polite way in which you can tell them that, please let everyone have their own point of view, and then when your chance comes, you can of course tell your views. So this is the way that you can deal with it. Due to this, there will be difficult. Yeah. So I've answered that, Rohan. Okay. Yeah. So हमने अभी स्टार्ट डिस्कस करा. अभी हम लोग जो मिडल में जो एलिमेंट्स होते हैं उसको डिस्कस करते हैं. सपोज यू आर इन द टॉप 3 स्पीकर्स, मतलब यू गॉट द फर्स्ट चांस टू स्पीक, और यू गॉट द सेकंड चांस टू स्पीक, और से यू गॉट द थर्ड चांस टू स्पीक. उसके बाद नाउ देयर विल बी अदर पीपल हु विल बी स्पीकिंग. देयर विल बी 8 to 10 पीपल, एंड टोटल टाइम आपके पास होगा 10 से 15 मिनट. सो मेक श्योर दैट यू हैव अ नोटपैड विथ यू. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आपके पास एक नोटपैड होना चाहिए. उन लोग कई बार देते हैं, कई बार नहीं देते हैं. सो आई वुड सजेस्ट दैट कैरी इट. आप एक नोटपैड रखो आपके पास. यू राइट द टॉपिक ऑफ जीडी वेरी वेल, बिकॉज बहुत बार ऐसा होता है ना, लोग जीडी के टॉपिक को बराबर सुनते नहीं है. सो सपोज इफ द टॉपिक इज अबाउट से रेप एंड थ्रेट्स अगेंस्ट वुमेन, अब उसमें what is the exact topic, no one would listen to that. They would just write the main or the keywords. No, that is not how it works. You need to actually write the topic, because then accordingly you need to set the direction. So topic लिख लो. उसके बाद when you are done speaking and when others are speaking, what are their names, what are the points that they are saying, write it down. So suppose if there are 10 people, there is Dhaval, there is Aradhya, there is Surbhi, there is Isha, there is Sakshi. So every time someone speaks, write their name, and if the point seems interesting to you, कि हाँ आप वो point पे आगे build up कर सकते हो, या आपको वो point ठीक नहीं लगा and you need to bring that out, then you just make a note of it. आप middle part कैसे utilize करोगे? When others are speaking, you listen to them. You don't hear them, you listen to them. You make notes of that. आप उसके notes बनाते हो. Then again when your turn comes to speak, आप वो point से build on करोगे. वरना you will get lost. इतने सारे points of discussion हो गए ना, you will forget that मुझे क्या बोलना था. So you take notes. That is very important. In the middle part, how do you how do you again get your chance? How do you again convey certain points? Now see, for any particular topic, there are only say 5 to 10 key points that everyone would have already said in the first part of their speech. Now, in the second part of the speech, you need to think, do you have a unique point? Do you have something that everyone is missing? Or has everyone gone to the wrong track? Bring them back. Again, discuss a very unique angle to that particular topic that has not been discussed yet. For example, there is this Sabrimala case, right? I hope everyone is aware of that. That women who are menstruating are not allowed in the Sabrimala temple. Now, it is a very controversial topic. Now, suppose people have given their points that no, legally they are allowed, or no, this is their right to worship, and all these points they have made. Now, you have a very unique point, and you say that I agree, but however, we need to respect a particular religious place, and constitutional values do not, or constitutional powers or constitutional sections do not apply to the place of worship. The Lord who is there in Sabrimala temple follows celibacy, and because he follows celibacy, women of a particular age group are not allowed. Now, I'm not saying this is right, this is wrong, but if you have a particular point which is very different from others, you say it in the middle part when everyone has been done with their common points, when all the key points are done, you take the discussion to a more nuanced level or a subtle level where you can have those point of views. Or else, what you can do in the middle is you can build on what someone has said. So, if you like the idea that someone has presented, you appreciate that and then you add your points also to it. That is how you go about it. And then coming to the end part. Now, in the end part, what you can do is, see, जैसे start करने में there are brownie points, summarize करने में भी there are brownie points. What it means is, there is one person in the GD who is required to summarize the entire group discussion. Now, when you are summarizing, if you get a chance to summarize, and इसलिए आपको note करना और important है, because when you are summarizing, you should know कि किसने कौन से speakers ने क्या points बोले हैं, and then only you will be able to summarize. So suppose at the end when you are summarizing a GD, how do you do that? You always take the middle ground. Suppose if you are for something, आप summary में ये नहीं बोल सकते कि यही सारी चीजें जो आपने बोली वो नहीं बोलने हैं, सबके points बोलने हैं कि there were point of view that this, there were point of view कि ये भी हुआ, and finally a middle ground, and that is how you summarize. For example, suppose जो point था can India be a superpower by 2030? Now, there would be people who would say that no, India can't be a superpower because corruption, because red tapeism, because the politics in the country, or the scams in the country, or the play of religions in politics, or elections, and because of all this, India cannot be a superpower. There are another set of people who say India has the largest youth population at its disposal. China's power is decreasing day by day, and the only real threat to India would be USA. And India has a workforce. India is going ahead digitally, and that is why you see that India can be a superpower. Now, how would you summarize it? So you summarize it that. So to summarize, I would say that there are point of views that India has. That India is facing the problem of corruption, red tapeism. There are various blockages or the angle of religion into play, which hampers India's growth. However, the future looks bright. The future looks brightful because India has the youth power. India is the largest democracy in the world, and there is a stable government also at present. Considering this point, we are very hopeful that India could be the superpower if it takes care of the points which are causing the blockages or which are the roadblocks to its path of progress. This is how you conclude. You take both points and then you summarize. अगर आपको summary करनी है, तो this is the way that you summarize, and it will earn you, it will portray that okay, you can summarize a discussion. It means that you were listening to everyone's point of view. You are communicating well. You are able to make it very concise and to the point, and you are appreciating everyone's point of view. So summary is again a sign of leadership. Any doubts in relation to the summary aspect, or how do you start, or what do you do in between? I'm ready to take it up. I see certain questions. Sir, is there any win-lose in group discussion? No, Rohan. So there is no winner, there is no loser in a group discussion. all that the moderator is judging is how well do you communicate and how is your teamwork. That is it. There is no winner, there is no loser. This is not a debate. There might be certain topics which do not have any for and against. सो देयर माइट बी सर्टेन, अब जैसे कि टेररिज्म एक टॉपिक है तो उसमें फॉर एंड अगेंस्ट कुछ नहीं हो सकता. एवरीवन विल जस्ट बिकॉज टेररिज्म इज रॉन्ग, इट इज बैड, सो उसमें अगेंस्ट और फॉर कुछ नहीं है. इट इज जस्ट दैट एवरीवन विल हैव देयर ओन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज दैट हाउ टू फाइट टू टेररिज्म. सो देयर इज नो विनर और लूजर हियर. ओके, किसी के पॉइंट से डिसएग्री है तो उसे कैसे बताना चाहिए. सो आई ऑलरेडी डिस्कस दैट आपको एक सटल वे में यू नीड टू टेल देम दैट आई डू नॉट बाय योर पॉइंट और सॉरी बट आई डू नॉट एंडोर्स योर पॉइंट. वैसे करके यू कैन देन हैव योर ओन सी. Okay, tell slowly. Okay, sure. I'll go slowly. So tell what's the difference between debate and group discussion, because while doing GD वो debate के साथ flow होता है. Exactly what I discussed right now. You might get topics जहाँ पर debate की बात ही नहीं आती. So for example, you might get a topic like ideation versus execution. मतलब एक idea सोचना या उसको execute करना क्या ज्यादा difficult है. अब इसमें मुझे बताओ डिबेट की क्या बात है. डिबेट की कोई बात नहीं है. हियर एवरीवन विल हैव देयर ओन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. दैट समवन वुड से दैट idea is the genesis or idea is the birth of any activity. So if there is no idea, if there was no idea of fire, if there was no idea of wheels, if there was no idea of communicating two people at a distance, then we wouldn't have fire, we wouldn't have cars, we wouldn't have transportation, we wouldn't have landlines, we wouldn't have mobiles. So idea is important. अब दूसरा बंदा बोलेगा while I agree that idea is important, but what there are thousands of ideas which have never been executed. So it all boils down to execution. In terms of execution, you should have a very scientific method that you are adopting. Only by trials and errors, only by reiterations that you reach to a particular conclusion, and that is why execution plays a very important role in in giving vision or giving a reality to any idea, or else idea is just a dream. So these are just different point of view. This is not debate. Okay, so it is often happens with me that I forget my point of view after listening others, but then I have to take a moment and have to recall the point which I have want to say. Of course that happens. So Ajay, that is why what you can do is have a notepad with you. So जब भी आपको कोई भी point दिमाग में आ रहा है, just write it down. If you write that point down, you can refer that point. It wouldn't be lost. Honestly, while I am doing this particular session, I have written down the points that I want to speak, because I can't go on and on for 2 hours or 3 hours without understanding or without having a structure to what I'm speaking. So noting down things would help you in a group discussion, definitely. So any best group discussion you remember that you want, that you will tell us? I think we'll be having a mock group discussion now, and I think that could be the best group discussion. Why not? So first we'll have that GD and then we can discuss on that. So now, so I've discussed how do you start with GD, how do you take, what do you do in the middle segments of the GD, how do you summarize it. Now, I'll give one advice with respect to GD. See, there could be varied topics, okay? Now, topics could be social media, whether it is a boon or a bane, or reservation system, or COVID. What is the impact on global learning due to COVID? Or virtual learning, whether you are enjoying virtual learning, whether it is effective or not, or bitcoins or cryptocurrencies, or beef ban, or whether elections should be held only once 5 years, or every year state election should happen. So you see, there are different number of topics, and it is practically not possible to have an idea of each and every topic. So that is why, how do you prepare for a group discussion? First is, if you are very late, if you just know one day before that there is a GD, then maybe go to this particular session that would help you to crack it. Or else just look at the current affairs, क्या topics in है जो फिलहाल discuss हो रहे हैं. So currently the topics in the corporate world are whether four days work week, whether it is it will increase efficiency of the employees or it will not work. So that is a particular topic of discussion that is going on. Then there is NFTs. Okay, NFTs, you guys must be knowing about NFTs and blockchain and cryptocurrency, whether this is the way forward or not. तो ये सारे टॉपिक्स या कुछ पॉलिटिकल टॉपिक्स जो है, जैसे कि जब साबरीमाला का मैंने डिस्कस किया, दैट इज नाउ टेकन अ पॉलिटिकल एंगल ऑलटुगेदर, या आधार कार्ड के बारे में, पहले आधार लिंकेज के बारे में बहुत सारे डिस्कशंस हुए थे, वेदर इट अफेक्ट्स द राइट टू प्राइवेसी और नॉट. So all these topics, what I'm saying is, it is not possible for you to know each and every topic unless you start reading. So my suggestion is that every day read a newspaper. If you're not reading a newspaper, you can just read Google News. I mean, start with Google News. Google News will be a curated set of news. जिसमें अलग अलग buckets में there will be different types of news for you. That is entertainment, sports, politics, religion, whatever. Start reading that. You will build your own perspective. इन अ जीडी ओपिनियंस आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आप सिर्फ फैक्ट्स करोगे तो बात नहीं बनेगी, बिकॉज टेक्निकल राउंड में वो फैक्ट्स देखेंगे. अगर उन्होंने आपको पूछ लिया कि अगर कॉस्टिंग में ये है तो दिस प्लस दिस क्या होता है, यू नीड टू गिव अ टेक्निकल आंसर. But in a group discussion, it is more opinion oriented. It is more driven by communication skills. How do you communicate well? If you have confidence. How do you have confidence? If you have read well, if you have data in your mind, if you are able to articulate that particular thing and bring it out. So that is why I would suggest every one of you to start reading. That is very important. Now, I'll quickly discuss what are the myths about GD. Okay, क्या general myth है कि ये सब GD में करना चाहिए? So first is that speaking too much. दिस इज अ मिथ इन जीडी. आपको, आप अगर बार बार बोलोगे, आप कंटिन्यूसली बोलोगे, जैसे मैंने बनाया डोंट बी अ कार्तिक आर्यन. सो आपको कंटिन्यूसली बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है टू क्रैक एनी जीडी. यू जस्ट से, अगर 10 to 15 मिनट्स का ग्रुप डिस्कशन हो रहा है, उसमें इवन इफ यू स्पीक फॉर 3 to 4 times, okay, 3 times minimum and 4 times or 5 times maximum, that is good enough. You don't need to speak every now and then. That is a myth. Second is dominating. Okay, so don't be aggressive. You need to be assertive. So I'll just share my screen and you should make note of this particular thing. Be assertive, not aggressive. And ये generally आपको GD में आपको आपका point of view रखना है, but you do not need to be aggressive. You do not need to jump from your particular seat. नहीं, वो नहीं करना है. You just be assertive. आप सिर्फ आपका point बोलिए and that is it. Okay, so वो myth कि you need to be aggressive, no, don't buy that. उसके अलावा एक ये है कि you need to be the first speaker always. See, I agree that आप first speaker हो तो बहुत अच्छा है, but suppose एक ऐसा टॉपिक है जिसके बारे में आपको आइडिया ही नहीं है, you don't really know what is the topic, you wait, you do not jump the gun. If you become the first speaker and you say something, it is a high risk high reward kind of category. आप अगर बहुत अच्छा बोल दिया, you might get selected, but if you say something that does not make sense, then you might not get selected, you will be overlooked. So I would suggest that first speaker बनना चाहिए. If you have a very good point, वो भी बनना चाहिए, मतलब there would be 10 other people who would be wanting to be the first speakers. अगर first chance नहीं मिले, then speak second, speak third, that is fine. But try करो कि third और fourth के बाद, मतलब ज्यादा try करो कि you are in the first 3 speakers at least. बिकॉज उसके बाद वो सैचुरेशन पॉइंट आ जाता है इवन ऑफ द एग्जामिनर और द मॉडरेटर, दैट वो कनेक्ट नहीं कर पाएगा इतना. सो बी और ट्राई टू बी इन द फर्स्ट 3 or 4 स्पीकर्स, बट फर्स्ट स्पीकर हमेशा ही होना है, दैट इज अ मिथ. अगर हो तो अच्छी बात, नहीं हो तो स्टिल यू हैव नॉट लॉस्ट एनीथिंग. ओके, सो नाउ आई थिंक हैविंग लर्न दिस, व्हाट वी कैन डू इज, okay, just quickly we can take any GD में एक person ने एक point पे कितने time बोलना चाहिए. Yeah, Sheetal, I think I said that if for one particular point, even if or for one particular person, if you are saying 3 to 4 points in the complete group discussion, that is more than enough. So I think roughly you can speak about 3 minutes out of the 10 to 15 minute discussion. That is great. That is more than enough. Okay, now we can have a mock GD right here itself. हम लोगों ने जितना डिस्कशन किया है, I will be a passive listener. There will be people in the group discussion who will be participating. I'll be giving them a topic. I'll be giving them 1 minute to prepare and a time of 10 minutes. उसमें everyone needs to speak. People need to display their leadership skills. People need to do everything that we have discussed. And everyone who is listening to this particular GD, observe them all themselves also how they are approaching this, and write in the chat box that आपको क्या लग रहा है, who is, how is this GD headed? And then at the end, I will also provide my feedback. Okay. So I think we can start with the mock GD. I will give the topic of discussion to every one of you is whether artificial intelligence is the future of India or not, whether artificial intelligence or automation is the future of India or not. So I'll hand over the stage to everyone who is here in the particular meeting to take maybe 30 seconds, and then we can start with the GD. So whoever likes to go first, they can very well go first. I'll be making points. I'll be noting down who says what, and then, yeah, let's begin. Yeah, I think enough time now. I think the first speaker can start. Whosoever wants to take a lead, they can start. Is everyone there? Gangesh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So maybe everyone who's there in this particular meeting can put their video call on so that I also get to know how's the body language or how well they are listening. If it is possible, put the video call on. That would be insightful to know about every candidate who is here. Yeah, I think Shivani has put her video on. I think I request others also to do that. I can see Sakshi. I can see Nandini, Shushti. I can see Ankit, Rishikesh. Great. Okay. So topic सबको समझा? Everyone understood the topic? Artificial intelligence, automation, whether it is the future or not. So yeah, I think the floor is open. Who wants to start? Okay. Difficult topic? Topic change करना है?
No,
I
sir.
want it
It's
to
an
be
easy
very-
topic.
It's an easy topic. Okay, then
Yeah.
let's go ahead.
Can I start?
Yes, sure.
ओके सर, अगर बेसिकली अगर मैं मेरे हिसाब से बोलना चाहूँ तो एआई का इंडिया में फ्यूचर है, बिकॉज अगर हम लोग नॉर्मल लाइफ में भी अगर मैं देखने जाऊँ तो हम लोग जब ऑनलाइन मार्केटिंग वगैरह भी करते हैं तो वहाँ पे भी एआई के टूल्स यूज होते हैं. अगर हम लोग मशीन वगैरह के टाइम पे भी अगर आजकल मशीन वगैरह भी बनाने तो वहाँ पे भी एआई का यूज है. अगर हम यहाँ पे अगर आप सब हो तो आप सब ने ऑलरेडी देखा रहेगा गूगल असिस्टेंट, जो कि एआई के यूज से बनाया गया है. एंड आगे भी इसका फ्यूचर होगा, बिकॉज लाइक अगर हम लोग अभी तो लाइक ऐसा हो रहा है ना, हम लोग खुद काम कर रहे हैं. आगे जाके जब रोबोटिक्स वगैरह आएगा तो वहाँ पे एआई का यूज होगा. तो लाइक अभी जैसे हम लोग मोबाइल को सिर्फ आवाज से चला सकते हैं अपने, कि लाइक गूगल असिस्टेंट वगैरह या फिर अमेजॉन अलेक्सा है तो इसको हम लोग यूज करके हमारा मोबाइल कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. तो वैसे जब आगे जाके इन द फ्यूचर इन लाइक हम अपने वॉइस से भी सब कंट्रोल कर सकते हो, जहाँ पे एआई का बहुत बड़ा हाथ रहेगा.
Okay, I wouldn't be speaking anything because I am a passive listener. Everyone who is in this JD needs to take this forward.
Yes, sir, I totally agree with Dhaval, sir. AI is the future of our India.
Yes, sir, I too agree with the idea of Dhaval sir and Ankit Sharma, but I too think that artificial intelligence also has a negative point, that is it costs a lot to make the things, to work out the things. So I guess the financial condition is the causes also of artificial intelligence.
Yes, Srushti, I agree with you.
So I agree with the Dhaval sir and Ankit Sharma point that it will in future it will be less time consuming also.
Yeah, Gangesh,
Am I audible, sir?
yes, you're audible.
So I agree with Sushti also. Like, yeah, means, this is a great thing. Like artificial intelligence is a scope for India, but as for my opinion, ये कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा बैरियर भी है हमारे लिए. जस्ट लाइक एज यू नो, एज वी ऑल नो, इंडिया इज द मेन हब जहाँ पे ज्यादा से ज्यादा पॉपुलेशन है. एंड व्हेन एआई केम इनटू पिक्चर, सो वो मैक्स टू मैक्स जो जॉब्स होंगी वो खत्म कर देगा, एंड दिस विल लीड टू मैसिव अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. सो उसके वजह से जो हमारा इकोनॉमी है वो डिस्ट्रक्टिव वे में भी जा सकता है. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम नॉट अग्री लाइक जो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस है वो इंडिया के लिए दिस एट दैट पॉइंट ये सुटेबल है.
सर जैसे गंगेश सर ने बोला कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस हमारे इंडिया के लिए थोड़ी सी डिफिकल्ट हो सकता है, क्योंकि अगर इन फ्यूचर अगर जॉब्स खत्म हो गए तो फिर हमारे जितनी बड़ी पॉपुलेशन को सफर करना पड़ सकता है. बट आई थिंक जैसे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस हमारे कंफर्ट के लिए जरूरी है, और इन फ्यूचर अगर हमारी जॉब्स पर ऐसा कोई असर नहीं पड़ सकता. उस टाइम कुछ अलग सिनेरियोज हो सकते हैं, भले हम अभी प्रेडिक्ट कर रहे हैं, बट आई थिंक ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा, ये मेरा मानना है.
यस अंकित, बट मैं एक और चीज बोलना चाहूंगा. लाइक एआई, जब अभी हम लोग को लगता है कि लाइक एआई आएगा तो हमारी सबकी जॉब्स चली जाएंगी, लेकिन एआई का यूज है ना, लाइक हम लोग ऐसी जगह पे कर सकते हैं जहाँ पे ह्यूमन को डेंजरस है. लाइक अभी भी अगर केमिकल फैक्ट्रीज, केमिकल्स वगैरह के वहां पे ना ह्यूमंस को बहुत लाइक वो डेंजर, लेकिन फिर भी वहां पे ह्यूमंस जा रहे हैं, तो वहाँ पे हम लोग लाइक रोबोट्स में फिर एआई का लाइक वैसे यूज करके वहां पे भी एआई का यूज होगा, तो यहाँ पे ह्यूमंस की लाइफ बच सकती है. और एक साइड ऐसा भी लाइक अभी यहाँ पे आप सबने बताया कि लाइक एआई आएगा तो जॉब्स चली जाएंगी, लेकिन मैं एक और चीज बताना चाहूंगा. एआई आया तो नए कंपनीज भी आएंगी, नई कंपनीज आएंगी तो नए जॉब्स भी आएंगे. तो लाइक हम लोग को जो फिक्र है कि जॉब्स चली जाएंगी, तो ऐसा नहीं है. वहाँ पे न्यू जॉब्स भी आएंगे, बिकॉज एआई अभी आगे हर जगह यूज होगा, तो वहाँ पे मीन्स पर्सन्स भी लगेंगे जो कंट्रोल कर पाए.
Yes, sir, I totally agree.
Yes, I do agree, but I also may want to make a point that because of AI, there are some sort of things like paper checking, or you can say of like the things which previously the manually things which were conducted are now conducted through AI. So it is a cause of unemployment, I can say, because it makes the human lazy also, you can say, and also the humans are getting unemployed.
यस सृष्टि, सब जगह पे अगर आप कुछ जगह पे देखने जाएंगे तो या एआई लाइक कुछ जॉब्स खा रहा है, लेकिन अगर मैं जैसे बोलूँ अगर एआई आ रहा है तो जैसे मैंने बोला ह्यूमंस की लाइफ भी बचेगी. सेकेंड थिंग, जो प्रॉफिट होगा उसमें भी बेनिफिट आने ही वाला है. लाइक देखो, कोई भी चीज अगर आ रही है तो या उसके नेगेटिव पॉइंट्स भी है एंड पॉजिटिव पॉइंट्स भी है. लेकिन एआई का मेरा मानना है ऐसे कि अगर एआई आ रहा है तो या जो फ्यूचर है वो हम लोग का लाइक कंडीशन, जैसे अभी का अगर कोरोना के टाइम पे भी आप देख सकते हो, जैसे जापान वगैरह है, तो अभी यहाँ पे कैसा हमारे डॉक्टर्स वहां पे जा रहे हैं कोरोना पेशेंट्स के बाजू में, लेकिन जापान साइड कैसे वहां पे रोबोट्स जा रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो ऐसा कुछ पेंडेमिक सिचुएशंस आया या फिर जहाँ पे भी जैसा लाइक हम लोग एआई का यूज ऐसी जगह पे भी कर सकते हैं जहाँ पे ह्यूमंस नहीं पहुंच सकते, वहां पे हमारा एआई जा पाएगा. दैट्स व्हाई एआई की टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है, जहाँ पे ह्यूमंस कुछ ना कर पाए वहां पे एआई कुछ कर पाएगा.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree, Dhaval. But the thing वापस से आता है कि लाइक एट सम पेस जब हम ये चीज लेके आ रहे हैं, लाइक एआई हम लोग इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं मार्केट में. सो सबसे जैसे सुश्री ने पहले पॉइंट बोला था कि लाइक वो कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव नहीं है. समटाइम्स कुछ ऑटोमेशंस होते हैं जो कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव होता है, बट जब हम लोग रोबोटिक्स की बात करते हैं तो इन दैट देयर आर मेनी थिंग्स व्हिच केम इनटू पिक्चर। ऑटोमेशंस आते हैं, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस आते हैं, मशीन लर्निंग आता है, मेनी थिंग्स केम इनटू पिक्चर। सो उस चीज में वो कॉस्ट मैटर करने लगता है। एंड कुछ चीजों पे लाइक जैसे अभी भी वर्कआउट हो रहा है, ज्यादा कॉस्ट बढ़ेगा तो लाइक वहां पे पूरा मार्केट नहीं हो पाएगा, लाइक अच्छे से बिजनेसेस भी नहीं हो पाएंगे वहां पे। तो आई थिंक सो कि लाइक जैसा चल रहा है वो, ऑफ कोर्स आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस ये एक अच्छी चीज है, इसके हर चीज के प्रोज एंड कॉन्स होते हैं, बट एज वी आल्सो सीन रोबोट मूवी आल्सो, लाइक उसमें कुछ डिस्ट्रक्शंस के बारे में भी दिखाया है जो रोबोट्स की तरफ से होता है। एंड वो जाहिर सी बात है वो हो सकता है, उसमें जो प्रोज भी दिखा है वो भी हो सकते हैं, बट उससे सबसे ज्यादा डिस्ट्रक्शन होता है वो कॉन्स के वजह से। सो आई थिंक सो अभी ये करेक्ट टाइम नहीं है या फिर करेक्ट पीरियड नहीं है, और हमारी इकोनॉमी भी लाइक उतनी स्टेबिलिटी में नहीं, जैसा कि यूएस एज कम्पेयर टू यूएस से करें हम, उतने स्टेबल नहीं है कि लाइक हम लोग उतना लेके आया है आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को।
Okay, yes, I can say one more point. This can affect the human which are not much educated. So here it can be a cause that they can lose their job at the same time when AI can be in existence.
Yes, Survi ma'am. But at the end, they will provide some training for that ना। if अगर कुछ नया आ रहा है तो उसकी ट्रेनिंग दे दे के हम लोग उसको अच्छे से सिखा सकते हैं।
Yes,
Yeah.
Rishikesh.
Go ahead, sister.
Okay, sir. Yes, as you said, but I could also add one point that if the robots or if anything which is technically working, then there is also thing that they will only perform which we command towards them. They won't do any extra thing which they should do. Like if a surgeon is not there, if he is going to check the vitals, then there must be also some other things he should do, but he can't do because we haven't given him the command. So these are also, like sir said, there are pros and cons, so I can say this is also the con over there.
Okay, summarize quickly.
Last point I just want to conclude here, just like Rishikesh also said ki like when we introduce some technology so we can train the uneducated people. I totally agree in that, but if we saw these things through a business model, so it varies actually। मीन्स हम लोग ऑलरेडी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, मशीन लर्निंग, रोबोटिक्स इसमें इतना इन्वेस्टिंग कर रहे हैं। आफ्टर दैट वी आर ऑल्सो इन्वेस्ट इन ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स। सो वो कंपनी जो भी लाइक वो करेगी वो ऑफकोर्स उसको हाई चीज में सेल करेगी, नॉट इन वो चैरिटी तो बिल्कुल नहीं करने वाली रहेगी, तो वहां पे कॉस्ट वापस ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा। तो मेन वही सेम रीजन यहाँ पे आता है कि कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव की वजह से जहाँ पे हम लोग वो चीज नहीं कर पाएंगे। एंड मेनी रीजंस आर देयर कि लाइक आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस थोड़ा डिस्ट्रक्टिव वे में हम लोग को लेके जा सकता है। थैंक यू।
बट आई थिंक अंकित सर आपने उसका नेगेटिव ये देखा है। सो मैं आपका एक पॉइंट से डिसएग्री करना चाहूंगा, जो आपने कहा कि वो डिस्ट्रक्टिव वे में ले जा सकता है। सर अभी हमने फ्यूचर देखा नहीं है, इवन हमने उसको प्रेडिक्ट कर रहे हैं हम इसे। सर ये भी तो हो सकता है ना कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस आगे जाके, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस हर चीज में हो सकती है। एक सिंपल मोबाइल में हो सकती है, जैसे एलेक्सा, गूगल प्ले स्टोर, गूगल असिस्टेंट है, ये सब चीजें में हो सकती है। रोबोटिक्स की आप लोगों ने बात की। सर हम रोबोटिक्स को इसलिए हम डेवलप करेंगे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस पे कि वो हमारी हेल्प कर सके। इट मीन्स लाइक कुछ चीजें ह्यूमंस नहीं कर सकते, वो काम हम उनसे करवा सकते हैं। सो ये उनका एक हेल्पफुल हो सकता है। एंड आई थिंक आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस अगर किसी भी कंट्री के व्यू से अगर मैं देखूं तो एक टाइम पर वो उसके सिटीजन भी बन सकते हैं, क्योंकि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस खुद से डेवलप होते हैं और एंड इट इज वेरी इंटेलिजेंट फ्रॉम अस। सो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के बारे में अगर मैं ये लास्ट ये बोलूं तो सर मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एक पॉजिटिव वे में हमारे कंट्री को ले जा सकता है। एंड अगर ये हमारी कंट्री में अगर ग्रोथ हो गई इस चीज की तो डेफिनेटली हमारी कंट्री सुपर पावर बन सकती है।
Summarize, guys, summarize.
ओके, आई एग्री विद अंकित। जैसे अभी सृष्टि आपने बताया ना कि लाइक या हम लोग समटाइम्स बोल सकते हैं कि हम लोग को एआई को कमांड देना पड़ता है। अगर मैं वहाँ पे किसी रोबोट को उसको कमांड देना पड़ता है, लेकिन डोंट फॉरगेट अगर मैं एआई की एक चीज बोलना चाहूँ तो एआई में हम लोग इस तरह से प्रोग्रामिंग वगैरह करते हैं कि वो खुद के डिसीजंस भी ले पाए। ठीक है, आई नो आपने हम सब ने ऐसे रोबोट देखे जिसको हम लोग कमांड करते हैं, लेकिन डोंट फॉरगेट अभी गंगेश सर ने बताया वो रोबोट मूवी में भी वो खुद से डिसीजंस ले रहा था, उसको कोई कमांड नहीं कर रहा था। ठीक है, तो लाइक हम लोग ऐसे भी प्रोग्रामिंग लाइक ऐसे भी एआईस है, जैसे लाइक जैसे हम लोग वो खुद से फैसले ले पाए, अगर मैं बोलूँ डिसीजंस ले पाए वो, तो एआई लाइक हम लोग बोलते हैं या देखो कोई भी चीज है उसके बैड पॉइंट्स भी है गुड पॉइंट्स भी है, लेकिन हम लोग अगर एआई कोई गुड पॉइंट से जाए तो लाइक ठीक है, देखो एआई हर जगह भी यूज नहीं हो सकता। ठीक है, हर छोटी छोटी जगह पे हम लोग एआई यूज नहीं कर सकते, ये हमें भी पता है। अगर लाइक छोटा काम हो, अगर मैं वहां पे एआई यूज करूँ तो ऑब्वियसली मैं एआई यूज करूँ तो उसका पैसा ज्यादा है, मेरा पैसा ही वेस्ट हो रहा है। तो एआई हम लोग ऐसे ऐसी जगह पे यूज करते हैं, जैसे अगर मैं इंडिया में बोलूँ तो या इंडिया में अभी एआई को आने को टाइम है कि थोड़ा थोड़ा धीरे धीरे आ, लेकिन अभी टाइम लगेगा डेवलप आने में। लेकिन जब तक वो आएगा तब तक जो हमारी छोटी छोटी जॉब से, ठीक है, वो भी तब तक में भी चेंज हो जाए। अभी आपको ही पता है, अभी सब पेपर्स पे पहले वर्क होता है, अभी सब ऑनलाइन वर्क हो रहा है। तो कहीं ना कहीं जो पेपर चेकिंग का काम है वो भी ऑनलाइन ही होना चाहिए ना। तो हम लोग सब पेपर्स पे ही जाएंगे तो हर बार टाइम वेस्ट भी है वहाँ पे, यहाँ पे टाइम भी बचेगा अगर मैं एआई का यूज कर रहा हूँ। ठीक है, और मैं गंगेश को एक और चीज लाइक बताना चाहूंगा कि वो जो
time of double.
ओके
Thank you everyone. So okay, सारे speakers, I think Shushti, Rishikesh, Sakshi, Ankit, Dhaval, Nandini, Shivani, Gangesh, Surbi, I think this were the speakers. Now some points here for feedback. सबसे पहले स्टार्ट करा आप लोगों ने बाय सेइंग सर एआई ये है, सर एआई वो है. यू आर नॉट एड्रेसिंग दिस टू मी. आप जो मॉडरेटर होगा या एग्जामिनर होगा आप उसको कुछ एड्रेस नहीं करोगे. यू आर हैविंग अ ग्रुप डिस्कशन अमंग्स्ट योर सेल्फ. तो आप इमेजिन करो यू विल बी इन अ राउंड सर्कल और आप एक साइड बैठे हुए होगे, बट यू आर नॉट स्पीकिंग टू द मॉडरेटर. तो ये बोलना कि सर एआई ये है या एआई वो है, यू डोंट स्पीक टू द मॉडरेटर, यू डिस्कस amongst yourself. That is the first point. Dhaval started. Dhaval sort of concluded. Summary किसने कोई नहीं किसने भी summary नहीं की. So that is an opportunity lost. For 2 times I reminded that summarize, but no one summarized. So वहाँ पर एक opportunity थी कि someone would have summarized and it would have created a good impression, but no one summarized. So opportunity lost. Dhaval started. So leadership qualities portray होती है कि okay, when everyone was reluctant to start, Dhaval started the discussion. So good Dhaval. I think second remark Ankit का था, which is just said I agree. बाद में Ankit ने points बोले, but second में just said I agree. I would say Ankit, first, second, third speaker, or whenever you are speaking, your first should be, of course you agree, but then what points you are adding. So that is also very important. You of course added a few points at the end, but when you're speaking for the first time, your first impression is as good as your last impression. So first impression में आपको 2-3 अच्छी lines आप बोल सकते थे. Okay, but well done. Okay, then I had Shushti who took a different angle, that is artificial intelligence. She was sort of against it, which is again good because there were 2 speakers who were already speaking for. So now you need another person with a different point of view. So I think well done, Shushti, on that. Rishikesh spoke on and off. एक बार अच्छा counter किया, so I like that. Gangesh, very good. You brought a very good point about unemployment, and वहाँ पर से काफी का कुछ discussion चालू हुआ because पहले ये discussion था. Shushti I think mentioned about the cost, but I think the major concern about AI and everyone is fearing AI is because of the unemployment thing, right? कि कल कोई मेरी जॉब ना चली जाए, कल कोई मैंने जो इतना बड़ा है वो एक इतनी सारी चिप में ही सब कुछ आ जाएगा, तो मेरी जो यहाँ की मेमोरी वो काम ही नहीं आएगी. So people fear artificial intelligence, right? So why do they fear? Because they think that they will be replaced. So a very good point. Not saying that I agree or I disagree, but nonetheless a very good point. Then I think Dhaval again made some good points regarding where AI can be used. Maybe he gave example of other countries. I also like when Gangesh gave reference to a movie. So ये जो candid conversations आप बीच-बीच में बोलोगे, it creates an impact. So it is in relation to the topic. आप कहीं भटक नहीं रहे हो, but आपने एक उसको थोड़ा सा अलग एंगल दिया कि ये मूवी में भी आपने देखा क्या एंड था. So it creates a impact. So that is good. And I think again Surbi and a lot of you had points about the cost factor, about unemployment, and they were for also. Dhaval, just a suggestion at the end, when I said that summarize, उसके बाद भी there was discussion for around 2-3 minutes. So we can जब अगर moderator आपको बोलेगा summarize, just quickly try to wind up the thing, because then you will run out of time. और फिर अगर वो interrupt करते बीच में that is then it wouldn't be ideal. So better है that जब summarize बोले, try to summarize it. Okay, even if agreed you must have a very good point, but then there is a shortage of time, right? For the moderators, they will have a lot of sessions going on. So be concise, work on that you can be concise with your points, and then try to summarize. But overall, good. Initially, I thought everyone was reluctant, but as and when everyone started, just apart from this, I would say my own suggestion. So I had this topic itself for my Reliance GD, in which I got converted. So what points I had made is a bit similar to what you guys also made. That I would say that there's always a fear for technology. Okay, when initially and whenever there are some established things, and when those things get taken away, there are people who are holders of those things who will get scared, who will create the fear amongst people. So that is going to be there. Galileo was killed, right, for stating the facts. So then MS Office happened, mobile phones happened, now metaverse is happening. So there will always be a change. It is up to us, how do we embrace that change? And one, artificial intelligence would definitely be a welcome move. Why I say this? Because right now, what jobs we are doing, we can elevate ourselves to much better jobs by applying our mind rather than doing manual jobs. क्यों करना है manual jobs? जो 50 साल पहले जो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पे अपने सिर पे उठा के सामान रखते थे और लेकर जाते थे, आज वो एक क्रेन से होता है. इज इट गुड और बैड? अब वो जो काम कर रहे हैं, यू वुड आर्ग्यू दैट उनकी जॉब चली गई है, बट नो, वो अभी बेटर काम कर रहे हैं. सो यू विल ऑलवेज फाइंड बेटर वेज टू वर्क and to apply your brain, to apply your intellect, if these menial jobs are taken care of by artificial intelligence. The risky jobs are taken care of by artificial intelligence. Having said that, we need to make sure that we are using them and they do not start using us. Because if they have the capability to understand things, if they have the capability to replicate themselves, then there should be some regulations in place, some policies in place, which actually monitor the usage of artificial intelligence. कल कोई artificial intelligence से you will spy on different countries. It will give rise to terrorism. It will give rise to destruction of privacy, destruction of secrecy, which is not good. So that is why artificial intelligence is a welcome move, but it should be monitored. It should be regulated to prevent its misuse. Right? So this is what I said. This could have been the conclusion or the summary also, what any one of you should have said, but that is all good. I think this is just probably the first or the second time that you guys would be doing a group discussion. So from that angle, really appreciate your efforts. And I think everyone had a very good time. Now what I'll do is, I'll just display my screen and I'll just flash some important topics that you can start with to have some mock GDs amongst yourself. So make groups, and I would say that interviews are not far away. You would think today that nahi yaar, interview ko time hai, nahi. College, you are at the graduation level. This is college to आपका आगे जाके जो भी journey है, उसमें GD would play a pivotal role. And if you attend more mock discussions, if you are a part of it, आपका confidence वैसे ही build हो जाएगा. And suppose हमने आज जो topic discuss किया, कल आपके interview में वही topic आ जाता है by chance, and you have a very big advantage. मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ क्या आएगा, there's a very small chance. अगर वो भी नहीं है, still you will have the confidence with you कि okay, I have appeared for 10. It is like रणजी ट्रॉफी खेल ली है, अब इंटरनेशनल में इजी लगेगा, या आईपीएल खेल लिया है तो अब इंटरनेशनल में इजी लगेगा, राइट? अग्रीड गाइस? So इसलिए start having those group discussions amongst yourself. I'll flash on my screen a few topics that you can begin with, and meanwhile I'll look at the questions. If anyone has any sort of questions on GD or say corporate in general, I'll be very happy to answer. I'll flash my screen. You can take notes meanwhile. Okay. So these are the topics that I think are very relevant and common topics that people or there are in discussions, in group discussions asked. So you can just make a note of it. And I would suggest just create small groups amongst yourself. कभी कुछ break मिल गया तो discuss on these topics. Not maybe not in a proper GD environment, but सिर्फ discuss करो ना. उससे you will get new point of views. आपका knowledge build होगा. I think that could be a good starting point. Anyone, if any sort of questions, then very happy to answer. I'm looking at the chat box also, and also let me know if it was the session was helpful for every one of you, and not we don't end just here. I'll be in touch, so you can follow me on LinkedIn. You can message me on LinkedIn, and I'll be very well available to any one of you, because I understand that the corporate life. Generally you don't have a taste of the corporate life until unless you enter it. So there will be a lot of questions in your mind. So just feel free to message me, and if I am of any help, I'll be very glad to help every one of you. And okay, I think I'll stop sharing screen if people would have noted this down, or maybe they can just take a picture of this. I think that is more convenient. Okay. So yeah, thank you everyone. It was really good interacting with each one of you, and I hope you take something from this particular session. And whenever is your GD rounds, you slay those, because I'm telling you, it is very important. आप interviews के लिए बहुत सारा कुछ prepare करके जाओगे, but अगर interview के step तक ही नहीं पहुंचे, तो क्या मतलब इतनी preparation का? So I just hope that you also take GDs very seriously, because you will encounter such rounds in your corporate recruitment process. So yeah, thank you everyone, and over to you, Gangesh or Dhaval. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I would like to invite Aradhya from the Student Support Department of the Placement Assistant team to deliver a vote of thanks. Aradhya, on to you.
A very good evening to all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this session. All dignitaries assembled here on behalf of Placement Assistant team, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make fourth day of session College to Corporate a great success. I would like to thank to our today's session speaker, Mr. Aman Lodha, sir, who honored this session of group discussion with his amazing tricks and ideas to crack the GD, who tells us detailed information about group discussion. Thank you so much, sir. Really, thank you so much for your precious time and valuable information.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I would like to thank to our today's host, Dhaval, sir, Vice President of Operation Department from Placement Assistant team. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Dhaval, sir. I would also like to thanks to our training and placement officer of Placement Assistant team. I exist my gratitude to executive body of Placement Assistant team to organize such a webinar during this pandemic situation. Thank you so much, sir, with my kind heart. I would like to thanks to the members and entire team of Placement Assistant team. And last but not least, of course, to beloved our students of Vedanta College and audience to making this session successful. Once again, thanks to all who present here. Thank you so much. By the way, audience, did you fill the feedback form? I hope so, yes. If not, then fill it. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the certificate of this webinar. As you know, this feedback form is your daily attendance too. Okay, then let's meet again tomorrow for the fifth session of the session. At the same time, on same YouTube channel for more training sessions, workshops, and webinars. Stay connected with us through our social media handles. You can also visit our Instagram profile, that is Vedanta with a pat Vedanta, and also LinkedIn account, that is Placement Assistant team. And if you have any queries, so you can visit our website, that is www.patvedanta.org. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much once again. Be safe, everyone, and have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone.